Good afternoon. Did you read the article about motivation?
Yes,
Of
I
course.
do.
What do you think about it?
From my point of view, the motivation to learn another language is very important. The article mentioned different types of motivation, such as intrinsic, extrinsic, instrumentally, and integrative. But I want to base my point of view on the extrinsic motivation, where you can basically that you have all the means to learn. You have a teacher who share his knowledge about the language, but much depend of the motivation of the student. As mentioned in the article, this motivation can be the most durable, but when you get an external reward, can begin the decrease that motivation. I think it's very important to mention because basically, if you yourself don't want the progress or learning a new language, and you only care about the passing subject, even you have a teacher who is very clean in explaining, you will learn to be a speaker or no language. Um, I think another case, I have also seen too many people who are get by the instrumental motivation, who only spend to learn a new language or use to a tool either to work or simply to communication.
In my opinion about the article, my classmate Jackie talked about different types of motivation because I want to talk about the specific type of motivation. What is the motivation? The motivation intrinsic. Why is important for me? Okay, the motivation intrinsic for me is important because it's an internal motivation. Because you know want or do you know search result or recompense because you learn English. If you have internal motivation, do you have more motives for learn English? And if you don't have motivation and only do you search the grades in the school or the different types of situations, the learning about this language can be more difficult in the school. You see the learning about the language most complicated or boring, but if you don't have motivation, if you don't have this motivation internal, for me it's important because it's a personal a personal motivation. And if you have, for example, the article talk about different situations, for example, the anxiety. If you have anxiety, is an obstacle for the learning of this learning of the language, because you don't have the security when you talk about the different language. In my opinion, the intrinsic motivation is a very important in this case.
Well, in my opinion, I really liked the paper about the motivation, anxiety, the syndrome of imposter. I really enjoyed it, and it feels like I know it, but at the same time, I don't know the paper because there is here mentioned 4 types of motivation, that is intrinsic, extrinsic, instrumentalist, and integrative. The I really most is the integrative that mentioned my classmate, and is for yourself. The extrinsic is for something extra, and when you have to score a goal, basically. And I really like it, but I want to talk about the anxiety, because motivation is important, but also is not all important. To start, the motivation is very, very good, And but when it finish or you score the goal, well, what else? You have to keep going to follow to speak a second languages, and the anxiety is something that it makes you feel uncomfortable and makes you feel bad because you you don't feel confident with yourself. You blow your mind. You don't like it, and you prefer to go and don't learn their second language. And the second one is the imposter syndrome. That syndrome I never heard early, and it's interesting because you have to put if you don't have that culture in the second language, you feel like an imposter. You're not on there, so I'm not from there. I don't have to speak the language because I am an imposter, and that's very interesting. I never heard it and I never seen it, so it's very interesting for me.
In my opinion, something to highlight from the article is the adversities of problems that can negatively affect the process or the interest is the most common. On the other hand, anxiety when we are learning a new language, we have the fear of the pronunciation is correct or it uses the other person who if he or she master the language and is understand me. That is the main thing because we don't know if the other person we are talking can understand me or can listen correctly when I talk. Now this interest when I start learning a new language, generally do it for obligation, whether it's for school, work, or we have to travel to another country. Not knowing the language makes our disinterest or dismotivated to go another country or with English like obligation, and that can be a little tired and we don't understand the idiom. So I can conclude about the article is that, for example, in this case is the disinterest and the anxiety. In the anxiety, when we don't have any motivation, we can be a little more disinterest about the idiom, and we can learn more clarity the optics of this idiom. And another is anxiety, and when we're scared about if we are talking correctly when another person who masters the idiom. And you have, what do you think about to the article, Suhei?
Well, I understand all the points of view and I agree because, well, I think the article is very interesting because it talks about the different types of motivation. And for me personally, it helped me to recognize why I'm learning this language that is English. And I think it is because of intrinsic motivation, because I want to improve myself. I want to be able to talk in another language. And I have the same problem about anxiety because speaking another language, it makes me feel very nervous. And well, but I think I can fix and overcome this problem. And well, thank you for all your opinion and for reading the article.